Welcome, everyone, to this brand new edition of 5 Round MMA. My name is Alex Ramirez, alongside my co-host, Albert Cita. Thank you all for tuning in this week, whether it be on audio podcast version, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts, we are available. Or if you're watching us on YouTube, thank you very much for tuning in. Really appreciate you taking the time to check us out. Big show this week, Albert, with the UFC 263 recap and reactions. My eyes are still red from crying. I was so emotional on Saturday. Were you, Albert?
Sorry, I was.
He's getting choked up still.
Yeah, bro. I was like, it's just crazy because, like, I can't think of a more wonderful story than the one we just saw play out. Like, it's like literally you always hear the American dream, dude. How is that? Even though it's a Mexican, but
technically,
that's what it is, bro. Like,
yeah.
Dude, I like legit, like I won, like he won, and I was about to like, yow and whatever. And I couldn't because I was so choked up. And I was like, dude, I'm not about to cry in front of all my friends and family right now.
The universal story of hard work, right? Hard work pays off. So we'll get to that more in detail once we enter the rounds here. And we're also going to preview UFC. WWE Hell in a Cell 2021 is coming up this weekend as well. We'll talk about that and some other ongoings in the world of professional wrestling. And I want to announce the championship rounds. Special interview with jiu-jitsu standout practitioner Berlyn Davis. It's going to be an awesome interview, so be sure to check around that. Rounds 4 and 5 are going to be the interview with her, and that is brought to you by Wildbar. Eat instinctively. Wildbar is a sponsor of the show, and they're also hooking us up with these interviews. Wildbar, it's all natural ingredients for energy and recovery. It's more than it's more than a protein bar. It's nutrient dense nutrition, a food bar. It's great. It's all natural, paleo, vegan, no refined sugars, non-GMO. It's gluten free. Great stuff. 3 great flavors: cherry, wild berry, or berry, and then pineapple. Again, go to wildbar.co, enter promo code 5ROUNDMMA15 for 15% off your order. That's wildbar.co. And this show is also brought to you by Foxhound Fuel. Train hard, stay sharp with their 3 formulas for powder: a pre-workout, a during workout, and a post-workout recovery system. Get all 3. Take your workouts to the next level. It's Foxhound Fuel. Go to foxhoundfuel.com. Use promo code 5MMA for 15% off your order. All natural ingredients, no artificial sweeteners or sugars. You won't get that jittery feeling. Great tasting as well. All 3 of them have different flavors as well too. So you're not mixing it up saying I'm drinking the same thing 3 times in a row. 3 different flavors for your pre-workout, your during workout, and your post-workout, which is really great and genius for them too, because I'm not going to drink strawberry 3 times in a row.
Yeah.
They're going to mix up the flavors, which is really great. So, and you're on Wild Bar. I mean, you're on Foxhound Fuel, right?
Yeah, I was about to say that, dude. I cannot preach how much the recovery one is so good. Off camera, I didn't even have to say nothing to Alex. Off camera, he was already giving me compliments on my weight loss, and it's 100%. Like, I know they're a sponsor, but like I just have never used something like it before. I hit the recovery and I hit it hard, bro. Like I was like, you know what? It worked the first time. So when I hit the gym, I went like ham, knowing that I had this recovery stuff, and let's see if I can do it again. Dude, I was killing it, bro, killing it in the workouts. So it's working. Best believe I'm getting a big pack of that recovery stuff, and hopefully, if you're watching on YouTube, you can see my progress.
We're going to do a progression for you, man. I see that. Again, this stuff does work. We're not just touting it because we're their sponsor here. Albert is actually using it for his workouts, so that's awesome, man. It's good to hear. Again, it's overall health, and it's not jittery. It's good for you. So Foxhound Fuel and Wildbar, a big thank you to both of them for promoting this show and sponsoring this show. A lot to talk about, man. You want to get started, or anything else you want to talk about in the world of that's not in professional wrestling or mixed martial arts?
No, dude. I think we got a lot to talk about, and I think
So let's get started with round number 1, shall we? Here, UFC 263 is in the books. Man, so far these pay-per-views, now we're in the easing of health restrictions where people are allowed into these arenas. They're being held in person, safely, of course, as well. I don't think we've had a bad one since, right?
Bro, all these matchups,
these pay-per-views especially, right?
Have been just like killing it. Just straight up killing it. I think ever since they bring it up to $70, I was a little bit worried because I was like, dude, How are you going to expect me to pay $70? It makes no sense. But so far, they've been $70 cards.
UFC 260. Where do you want to start? Some top, bottom, bottom up? How do you want to start?
Let's start bottom up.
I think for me, one of the big ones was Paul Craig and Jamal Hill. Paul Craig snaps his arm with an arm bar and then just continues to wail elbows on him like assault, man. Where was the referee on that one? I legit had ESPN, I think MMA, ESPN, UFC, right, their page on Instagram. They posted that the end of the fight on there. I thought for sure, how did that not get flagged for like assault? Because you know sometimes they have on Instagram. Yeah. This might be sensitive if you want to click. They didn't have that. They just had that nasty warning, assault on there, man. So Paul Craig made a big statement here. I guess we should focus on. We'll probably have 2 rounds focused on UFC 263. Nate Diaz versus Leon Edwards was probably one of the triple main events actually. Yeah. Leon Edwards takes the victory in a unanimous decision win or decision win. I forgot if it was split or unanimous, but
I think it's unanimous.
I really do think, obviously, Nate Diaz is a bigger star. He's being treated as such, even in the losing effort.
The Arizona fans made you know that he was the favorite.
Yeah, and even like post how you always kind of see how the UFC and ESPN are who they want to win and market. They even though he lost, it was the Nate Diaz show afterwards. He got all the love on social media afterwards. I think there's a couple of maybe a photograph and a little clip of Leon Edwards, but it was mostly Leon Edwards reacting to Brandon Moreno's win because he was interviewed post-fight and it happened to be right when Moreno was winning. So Leon didn't get any really like true love. We talked about this last week, how he's like,
Larry, like you said, I saw Nate Diaz say what's up to Izzy afterwards. I saw Nate Diaz say what's up to Brandon Moreno. I saw highlights of the post conference of Nate Diaz, and I didn't even see one thing of Leon Edwards.
So I think obviously, but it goes to show you that Nate Diaz and Conor McGregor, you can't take years off as a break and come back to fight fighters who are actively fighting. Leon Edwards is an active competitor in the welterweight division. And you can't come back and fight the likes of Dustin Poirier and think you're going to get a win, bro. I don't care how talented you think you are or you were at one point. This MMA game is cruel. And if you are not active and not compete at the highest level on a regular basis, you can't take years off and compete with the best, bro. Again, that was proof. Even when he fought Masvidal, that was proof. Masvidal was actively competing when Nate Diaz fought him. And Leon Edwards is actively competing. You can't come back and plus 25 minutes. Yeah, you're able to hang and he didn't finish you. And yeah, you may have rocked him towards the end. But at the end, bro, again, if you want to be a full-time fighter or a part, what do you want to be, bro? Like, you can't be 1-1. Again, good win for Edwards. Does he do him any favors as far as like being a promotional favorite for the UFC? Yeah. Probably not. Is he in line for a title shot after this? Maybe in notoriety because you beat Nate Diaz, yeah. But as far as like the UFC seeing you as a marketable person, probably not either. So he's kind of in dead man's land. And then for Nate Diaz, he can just probably wait till if McGregor loses against Poirier,
there goes the match.
Mark trilogy, right?
I will say this right away. Usman's manager, Ali, put out a thing that they want Leon Edwards.
Good.
And
Good.
I mean, I wouldn't blame Usman because I think the Colby Covington fight is actually a worse matchup than Leon Edwards.
Okay.
I'm just saying.
So
I'm just keeping it real.
Isn't that announced, right? Colby Covington versus Usman? That's announced, isn't it?
You know what UFC, it could change. But either way, like, just to get back,
that goes to show you that he wanted Nate Diaz, more than likely. So.
Yeah, but I was going to say, that just shows you how good GSP really was. The dude did take a long break, came back, beat Michael Bisping, and won. That just shows you the talent of GSP.
Yeah.
Because a lot of fighters have not been able to just jump in, take a top 5 fighter, and have a good outcome.
You always need that warm-up fight, right?
Yeah.
So, again, for Nate Diaz, it's pretty much what happens with Conor McGregor, right? If McGregor loses to Poirier, run it back.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
He's, again, we're going to go along on this one too, but we've been watching Nate fight for a long time. Mm-hmm. Getting all this, you're a legend. You're legend of the sport. It seems to me that his career didn't really start until
Conor McGregor,
right?
Of course. He's
always been a good fighter, not a great fighter. I don't think he ever really came close to a title shot. Maybe he got a title limiter fight before McGregor, but obviously his always been popular, always had his hardcore fans, right? The Diaz, that's just, their market, their marketable brand, the Diaz brothers. But this whole, you're a living legend, he's one of a kind, like this is what you get what you pay for Nate Diaz. I kind of feel like it's maybe a little exaggerated. Am I wrong here on that? Or
no, dude, it's 100% like it's like the whole Mazdov trend, I think. It's
like where your celebrity's bigger than your fight accomplishments, right?
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Nate Diaz's celebrity outweighs his
like let just
record in MMA, right?
Things to perspective. He was not the Ultimate Fighter winner, right?
Yeah.
He wasn't the champion of that show. He never held the belt. He didn't win the BMF belt. So there's a lot of
he hasn't done a lot of things.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. But when you talk about other fighters, they have all these, like Usman, who was the Tough Enough winner of his season, and he is the current champion. He doesn't have those acolytes that I think people
hype him up, right?
Yeah, have in their head. If the only acolyte he has is beating Conor McGregor,
Yeah.
How are you gonna say it wasn't the Conor fight that made him?
And then the more Conor loses, the more that's seen less special, right? Because Poirier can say that too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, I beat him as well. So I don't know. I mean, the UFC is still going to promote him, and I think as long as Nate Diaz is still out there smoking weed and cursing and giving middle fingers,
I think the Arizona fans proved it. He is a fan favorite, and he's going to continue being a fan favorite.
It's just like if anything, you're going to keep Cowboy Cerrone around so you can fight
exactly.
Nate Diaz,
no, exactly.
because he can't fight at top level. He can't fight at the top level anymore. Let the best. We're running into this what the UFC is becoming now. It's two categories: the top fighters who are actually fighting for prestige and for gold, and then the fighters who have names and maybe a little older, and they're just fighting for a big payday and for pay-per-view buys and for ratings, right? The McGregors, the Diazes, the Masvidals, where they're not going to win a title anytime soon because they're Usman and Poirier and Charles Oliveira. Those guys are way above the skill level where they're at now. But people still want to see McGregor. People still want to see Masvidal. People still want to see Diaz fight. Mm-hmm. Let them fight, but just don't hold up the rest of the division for these guys, I think.
No, yeah.
So that's it for round number one. We're going to come back and talk about the co-main event and main event for UFC 263. And we'll try not to get emotional here, but no promises. That's round two coming up next.
5-round MMA.
Welcome back. Time for round number two. Time for part two of our UFC 263 recap. Co-main event, Brandon Moreno, Davis and Figueiredo, third round, submission stoppage. The night belonged to Brandon Moreno. Man, emotional. When he made Figueiredo tap, it took him a while for it to sink in, right? He collapsed in tears.
Dude.
It was just like his promo afterwards.
That's literally going to be one of the greatest moments ever in MMA history. Like it's going to stay up there for a long time. It's going to be the freaking Forrest Griffin versus Stephan Bonner fight moment kind of thing. Just because like it was, not only was it just like you said, like
it was genuine,
genuine emotion. Like it wasn't like pre-planned. Like you saw when he finally hit him. Yeah, dude, I'm gonna get choked up right now. Just even recapping it in my head that he finally inspired. But like just his freaking story, bro.
So for people who don't know,
recap his story because it's a beautiful story.
I forgot what season he was on in The Ultimate Fighter, but he was, I think, picked,
when they introduced the flyweight division, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, he was picked dead last. He didn't win, but I think he his first fight. He
lost right off the bat. Too.
Yeah, and they still hang him around, so he was still there training. He was still able to get a fight on that card, the Ultimate Fighter finale. He actually won that fight and had a pretty good couple wins here right off the bat. Because I thought, oh wow, like he got cut or he lost. But he's still winning, right?
Yeah.
And for some reason, he drops 2 in a row and gets cut from the UFC like that. And I think he was a product of maybe them trimming down the flyweight division or what. But it was really strange. Just 2 fights. People go on longer losing streaks than that, lose badly and get cut. But he didn't give up. He goes on the circuit, goes to LFA, which is coming now the premier fighting development system. Feeder league. Yeah, even more than that.
I wouldn't even say develop because some of these guys already developed. I think it's just a straight up feeder league where it's like, go to the LFA, knock some fools out, win some fights, and you're back in the UFC right away. Exactly.
Did that, won their championship, came back into the UFC, did the grind again, got 3 fights in a row. All of a sudden, he's a number 1 contender.
Takes a short notice fight. Again, it's all about in life. It's about timing, bro. He took a short notice fight against the champion.
2020, they have probably the fight of the year. It's a draw at that. They both have a full camp here. Both have full time to train. And he does it. He does it. It's the ultimate hard work and persistence pays off.
Yeah.
And look what happens. You can literally track his development from there. Even the UFC was, they found like an old tweet of his or Instagram post with the old UFC photo back in 2016 where Brandon Moreno captured it. Oh, someday this will be mine. Fast forward 5 years later, it's his. It's just an amazing story. No matter what, you have the Mexican pride and nationality to it too, but it's a story that goes across all nationality and races because it's a story that shows you hard work pays off and you work at it and you believe in your dreams and you continue to work hard and don't be detrimented to it. It's going to pay off.
Yeah, and then the other thing I wanted to point out was it's not a popular sport in Mexico yet.
It's not. No.
So, with like it's
boxing's still number one.
Yeah, boxing's still number one,
and soccer, then lucha libre.
So for someone that is Mexican born, lives in Mexico, to go into MMA, it's a very weird new kind of thing. I know there's other countries that we're seeing a big spark of MMA come, but those countries, it almost feels like they never really had a combat sport to really get into. Yeah. And Mexico has always been a boxing country. And it's just like for him to pick this route is one, it's awesome. But I think we're now going to see an explosion of Mexican fighters hopefully come out of this. And everybody knows, if you're in the boxing community, you know, when someone says the Mexican style, you know what they're talking about. Yeah. And I feel like that's the excitement these Mexican MMA fighters are going to bring coming up. And we've been seeing it. I mean, Brian Ortega fights like this, Tony Ferguson, obviously Brandon Moreno, the new champion. So there's a very fun style that a lot of people like. That get ready, because as soon as MMA starts growing in popularity in Mexico, you're going to see these incredible fighters come out with that Mexican style.
Yeah, we've seen it with boxing, our whole lives with the Julio Cesar Chavez, with the Canelo Alvarez. In America, there's a big difference between a Mexican-born fighter and a Mexican-American-born fighter. I just ask boxing fans, what's the difference between Oscar De La Hoya and Cesar Chavez? Yeah. You're right. But the UFC, knowing that there is strong roots in combat sports in Mexico and how much money and how much investment that Mexican fans put into their fighters, whether it be you're from Mexico or you're Mexican-American, Canelo is a big draw because of that, right? Yeah. So the UFC's been trying to do that with the Roger Huertas, the Cain Velasquez. They finally had it in Cain Velasquez, the Mexican-American star. Obviously he was able to capture the imagination, but he was hurt. I don't think we ever really saw the full potential of what Cain could have done in popularity-wise. Tony Ferguson. They have Yair Rodriguez, Alexa Garcelle.
That's what
Irene Aldana, people like that who are coming up, but they haven't yet to kind of grasp the imagination of Mexico yet.
I honestly feel there might be a good Mexican takeover coming soon, where Brandon Moreno is leading the charge. But there's so much talent in other weight classes that they're on the brink of getting that championship belt, or at least competing for that championship belt. So it almost feels like a wave. Remember when you had the Brazilian wave, and then the US wave, and then right now it's the Nigerian wave. Yeah, so I think it's kind of cool to see all these different countries kind of like build up with MMA.
Yeah, it's truly becoming a world sport. Yeah. Truly becoming a world sport. Where I think at the point now, I think the U.S. might be falling off a little bit. I don't think we have a U.S. champion.
That's what I was about to just say.
We have Francis at heavyweight.
Yep.
Light heavyweight is from Poland, which is Jan Blachowicz.
Uh-huh.
Middleweight is Izzy.
Yep.
Welterweight is Usman.
Usman.
Lightweight.
I guess he's American, but
he's claiming his Nigerian roots. So he's not painting his face in the American flag.
Yeah, you're right.
Oliveira.
Uh-huh.
As lightweight. Volkanovski as featherweight.
Australian.
Bantamweight is Peter Yan.
Uh-huh.
And flyweight is now Brandon Moreno.
Wow.
And then the women's
you got
Nunes.
Yeah, Amanda.
Shevchenko. That's it, right?
And Rose.
Rose Namajunas. We got one. We got Rose.
Yeah, we got Rose, the only American.
Come on, America. Where you guys at? These gyms. Real quick, we're going over again, but there's a lot to talk about.
Izzy. Amazing performance. Fun performance. I thought we were going to see a finish. I wasn't mad that we didn't see a finish.
Yeah.
I would like to see Izzy fight 3 more times and retain his belt at least 3 more times before.
That's a very specific number. Why is it 3?
Because I feel like Izzy can break records in that division.
Okay.
And then try his crack again at 205. But man, Robert Whittaker versus Izzy too?
Yeah.
Woo, man.
Let's go. Come up next. You know what? It's funny. I think people... Obviously, we're very lucky because we got to see Anderson Silva and Izzy in our lifetime.
Yeah.
He's the only... I only person I can think of who made it look this easy.
Yeah.
Against his opponent. And you know what's funny? When Anderson Silva got to the UFC, he was really a little older in age.
Yeah.
He had a whole career.
He kind of had a late start.
Yeah. And it's not his fault,
yeah.
but I think with Izzy now, we're almost seeing like what Anderson Silva, like we saw his develop a young Anderson Silva. And this is like fun to watch. And yeah, he could be kind of an ass sometimes. And he's really divisive now.
It's all in entertainment.
He's an entertainment, right? You either love him or hate him.
Yeah.
It's just who he is. Obviously, if you hate him, you're going to pay to watch him get beat up. If you love him, you're going to pay so you can like, hey, ha, 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 I told you Izzy's my boy, right? He makes it look easy, man. And Vettori wasn't no easy slouch, right? He wasn't a tomato can out there. He just made it look so easy.
I mean, Paulo Costa, for crying out loud,
was knocking dudes out left and right.
Yeah, he did not look like he was going to be an easy rock. Hector, I was about to say Hector Lombard. Yoel Romero was not an easy task.
Yeah.
And he's just making it. Robert Whittaker, bro.
It's not an easy task. Kevin Gastelum.
Yeah,
He's not running away from fighters, man.
Yeah.
And like,
you can't say like, okay, again, Anderson Silva, amazing run as the champion, but he didn't have the competition Izzy has right now. Let's keep it real.
That's true.
Anderson Silva faced some deadly competition, but it was not in the caliber of the Robert Whittaker.
Yeah, Forrest Griffin ain't on the same level of Robert Whittaker, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Actually, I would think if you put Jan Blachowicz versus Forrest Griffin, I kind of like Jan on that fight, don't you?
Yeah.
So Izzy versus Whittaker 2, that's coming up. I mean, UFC 263, damn, another great from top to bottom, another great card. If these are every pay-per-view, man, bring it up.
Seriously.
Like this, man. So far, we haven't had a dud yet.
I'll give you that, UFC. You have spoiled me rotten.
Again, we got to keep it up if you want these. You
want my $70?
Got to keep the consumers happy.
The moment you don't spoil me, bro, I ain't paying no $70.
Yeah, we got one more round coming up before our big interview with Berlyn Davis. We're going to preview WWE Hell in a Cell 2021.
5-round MMA.
Look at that card and see if it's even worth maybe paying attention to. So it's coming up next.
With their 3 performance
5-round MMA is brought to you by Foxhound Fuel. Train hard,
formulas,
stay
powders
sharp with
to get
the
the
best
best
out of your workout.
formulas,
Foxhound Fuel. Go to foxhoundfuel.com. Use
formulas, powders,
5 get the best out of your workout.
15%
That's Foxhound Fuel. Go to foxhoundfuel.com. Use promo code 5MMA for 15% off your order. Foxhound Fuel. Train hard, stay sharp. Welcome back. Time for round number 3. We're going to preview WWE Hell in a Cell pay-per-view, which takes place Sunday, June 20th, live on the Peacock Network. Timer started. But before we get into WWE really quick, this past Saturday, Impact had their Against All Odds. I think it was Against All Odds pay-per-view.
Yeah, I think right.
Kenny Omega defeats Moose with the help of the Young Bucks. Kenny Omega still going strong with his quest to gain all the world championships for all these different promotions.
Hey, Moose and Omega worked really good together, which is no surprise, bro. No surprise. But I feel like, I don't know if they were saving some for a further date or the injuries are catching up to Kenny, but I felt like they held back a little.
Yeah, and I think obviously the finish was there to protect Moose because out of all the guys, all the guys in Impact,
what a G, bro. Yeah.
All the guys in Impact, has the potential to be the biggest star. No offense to the Eddie Edwards fans or the Sami Callihan fans out there. It's going to be Moose. So Omega, again, I think his next one is against Andrade for the AAA Mega Championship, which I think is in August.
I don't care if it's pay-per-view or free. I'm checking it out, and I don't even remember the last time I checked out Triple Mania, bro.
So let's switch gears, talk about WWE Hell in a Cell pay-per-view. The big matches so far that are advertised are Rhea Ripley versus Charlotte Flair, WWE Championship match, Bobby Lashley versus Drew McIntyre. Hopefully this is the payoff. This is the blow-off. This is going to be in the Hell in a Cell match. SmackDown Women's Championship, Bianca Belair
match that
versus
I'm excited about.
Bayley, which I think is low-key the best feud so far post-WrestleMania. And Universal Champion Roman Reigns versus Rey Mysterio in a Hell in a Cell match. This feud literally went from 0 to 60 in like a week and a half, bro.
Yeah.
If you're watching SmackDown, this came out of nowhere, and I love it, bro, because it's a great... bro, as much as I love Kenny Omega...
The big
dog is like neck and neck what they're doing, man. And honestly, I credit more the WWE creative staff for pushing Roman Reigns on this one. AEW is not really doing much to promote Kenny at all.
No.
It seems like it's Kenny on himself, right?
Yeah.
It's like he's not even the main thing on the main segment on an AEW show. But WWE, if you're watching SmackDown, it's the Roman Reigns 2-hour show, man, and I love it.
And it's quality stuff. It's the part that I'm liking. And this is coming from a Roman Reigns hater.
Originally.
Yeah, originally. But the guy is not only is he winning me over, he's giving quality promos, quality storylines, and quality matches. It's hard. You can't deny that. You just can't. And yeah, like I was even thinking like Hell in a Cell's around the corner. What are they going to do with Roman Reigns? You know, I thought they were going to throw another Jey Uso in there or something. And then they go and build something that I actually care. It was a good build-up.
Yeah, scroll down real quick so we can have that graphic up. It's really cool. It came out of nowhere, too, where, like, this past Friday on SmackDown, he just obliterated Dominic. And I like you, man. And
he made him look like a kid.
Hell in a Cell match, Rey Mysterio still going strong, man. I think he had a couple years where he had those health issues, took some time off where he kind of was going a little easy now. You can really tell. I mean, you're a dad. Having his son in there has really lit a fuse in Rey Mysterio, right?
Yeah.
Where it's like that father-son thing. They're tag team champions, but
it's almost like he has to elevate his game, knowing that it would just make his son shine even more.
And that's insane. I think that's I don't think people are talking about that enough. One, because Rey Mysterio has always been one of the best of all
he's
time.
always been a top.
But you've seen him now, extra motivation, extra fire in his butt, because his son, right? He almost wants, I want to do this for my son to look this good, and it's got him in the main event. Probably in the main event. I thought this is the main. It's Roman Reigns. He has to be in the main event.
Yeah,
right?
he's the big dog.
The big dog. I like this fight. I like this matchup real good. Bianca Belair versus Bayley.
Ooh.
I honestly think this post WrestleMania, this is probably the best long-term storylines going on right now. Bobby Lashley and Drew McIntyre has been kind of played out to me a little bit. But Bayley's been so creative in her Ding Dong Hello show. Her character involvement as a heel.
I'm not again. I talk a lot of smack around here, and I do hate on a lot of fighters and wrestlers. But I'm also quick to admit when I'm wrong. When I saw Bayley's gimmick the first time, I thought it was annoying. I thought it was stupid.
It's doing its job.
I thought WWE creative failed once again.
Nope.
But Bayley made it shine. Dude, I was laughing my ass off watching her promos. Her little show. It's entertaining, and she's making the gimmick work, bro.
I have been a fan of Bayley since day one.
And it wasn't that big. I just thought originally I thought the gimmick was really dumb.
Since day one, I've been a fan. And I have like full trust in her. If they give her, some creative control over what she's going to do, I don't think she's going to turn to bad gimmick at all, because she's a fan of wrestling, so she knows what's going to work, and she's just creative, right? Yeah. People, she got to turn heel, and then she was trying to find her footing a little bit, and then she was able to break away from her and Sasha. Now it's just on a different level, bro. She's just performing.
And I honestly think this is going to be the match of the whole event.
Yeah, I do see her losing to Bianca.
Yes, I think Bianca Belair has to have a strong WrestleMania.
Yeah. Post-WrestleMania run.
Yeah.
And I think they're probably saving it for maybe her and Sasha too at SummerSlam. But Bianca, man, I think her going from Sasha right to Bayley, who are the top two, is a way just to make her look stronger, man.
Oh, yeah.
It's just like, have her run the gauntlet to make her solidify as probably one of the EST of the division, right? McIntyre versus Lashley again.
I'm kind of over it. I'm not going to lie to you. I just feel like they can't have a good match.
One time, too many.
Yeah, and I honestly think they don't work well together. The
WrestleMania match was good.
It was good, but
I
was hoping there's going to be more chemistry with these two. I don't think it's there. I'm not looking forward to the match. Even if they could put them in a Hell in a Cell, I'm still not looking forward to it.
Yeah, I think they should have realized that the peak was WrestleMania, and they should have just gotten somebody else in there. like again, sometimes I don't think their moveset for both of them together is limited to where they can't have a second good match in a row. They should have stopped it at WrestleMania, given Lashley another challenger instead of McIntyre. So, I mean, I think they're trying to get Brock Lesnar in here. From what I'm hearing, they're trying to make SummerSlam big this year.
They're trying to do the WrestleMania.
Yeah, because it's going to be full capacity wherever they go. So, I don't know if they're trying to be Brock in or what, but if it's going to be Brock, more than likely it's going to be Lashley going over here, and then hopefully McIntyre has a good run somewhere else. Charlotte versus Rhea Ripley. I'm not as excited as I am for the Bayley Bianca Belair one. I don't know why. I should be as excited for this one.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Oh man, I'm losing my voice too. Anyways, I want to be more excited than I am about this match because I know it's two very talented performers in the top of their company, and yet I'm kind of not that excited. You know,
neither am I.
I don't know if the buildup just wasn't there or the fact that Charlotte is on and off. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. I know it's going to be a good match, though.
Yeah, hopefully it's going to be a good match. So I'm still going to watch it. But, yeah, so that's it for this preview of WWE Hell in a Cell. We're going to cut short, get Albert his voice back. Hell in a Cell, Sunday, June 20th, live on the Peacock Network, on the WWE Network or the Peacock channel, however you get your WWE Network. Yeah, we'll also have a recap of the In Your House NXT special. We're recording it as it's going on right now. So
literally, when we hit stop on the recorders, we're watching in your house.
So we're going to take a small break and come back and enter the championship rounds with a great interview with jiu-jitsu standout practitioner, competitor, student, all the above, jiu-jitsu star Berlyn Davis, brought to you by Wildbar. So that interview is coming up next. Do not go anywhere. 5-Round MMA is brought to you by Wildbar. Eat instinctively, all natural for energy and recovery, natural, paleo, no refined sugars, non-GMO, gluten-free, nutrient-dense bars, wildbar.co, 3 great flavors. Go to wildbar.co and use promo code 5ROUNDMMA15 for 15% off your order. Wildbar, eat instinctively. Welcome everyone to this special interview brought to you by Wildbar, eat instinctively. Our guest this week is jiu-jitsu practitioner, student, competitor, champion, Berlyn Davis. Berlyn, how's it going?
It's going good. How are you guys?
Very good. Thank you. Thank you for tuning in this week and joining us. This interview is brought to you by Wildbar. Berlyn, jiu-jitsu. I said jiu-jitsu all day, every day. We see your background, your trophies, your accomplishments.
Dude, how many medals is back there? It's like a ridiculous amount.
Probably about 60 or more.
Wow.
Oh man.
I hope those hooks are like double reinforced. That's a lot of metal on there.
Yeah.
So tell us a bit about yourself and your athletic background, and more specifically, how many years have you been doing jiu-jitsu?
I've been doing jiu-jitsu for almost 8 years. I started when I was about six and a half. I got into it because my dad did it for a while, and I always wanted to do it. And in his head, he was like, I don't know if she'll really want to. So I ended up trying it, and I fell in love with it. And ever since then, it's all I want to do.
And you're 15 now, so it's pretty much been what you've been doing. Did you play any other sports? Are you playing any other sports now, or is it just jiu-jitsu?
Yeah, I did baseball and basketball for a little bit, but nothing that I would want to stick to.
Real quick, since you mentioned your dad, did he start off at a young age, or was he older when he started?
No, he was older when he started.
And is he as accomplished as you, or?
No, not at all. But
I'm sure he's like super proud of you. How you're doing now?
Yeah.
So keeping back to you getting into whatever. So I actually have a daughter too. She's only 1, but if I were to want, because I think it's very important for her to learn self-defense eventually. What's a good advice that you would tell like a younger girl?
I would just tell them that, like, always school first, definitely, and then also like you need that background to like help you with just like to be able to defend yourself is really important for forever, really, with everything you do.
What about, did you ever feel intimidated at all, or were you just right off the bat, you're like, this is something I want to do?
At first, when I started competing when I was little, like my first few competitions, I didn't really like it that much. But once I started like competing a lot, and it just came like naturally, it was more of like almost like a schedule because I'm competing so much, and it's just like it's almost like that fuel that you just have, and then you just go harder every time.
Often people who do jiu-jitsu, they describe it as like they don't know what it is, but because you're always learning and it's never easy. What was it about it that kind of really attracted you to it? That, you know what, I want to do this. I want to continue this at a high level. I want this to be, you know, part of my life. Well, what is it about jiu-jitsu that kind of, you know, made you fall in love with it?
What made me fall in love with it is it's just like such a competitive sport, and I'm always learning. And like you never can know everything. Like there's always stuff that you're not gonna know, and that you're always gonna be learning forever.
So where do you train out of, and who is your jiu-jitsu coach?
I train at Fight Strong MMA in San Clemente, and my coach is Adam Watts. Yeah, so he's a world champion as well.
So what is it about that gym and that coach that you really like?
My favorite part about my gym and the environment, and it's more of like a family. So it's not so much like, you know, your friends. It's like we're all a huge family, and it's just like a great environment to put yourself in.
Now, you said you're just coming off practice. It was an open mat. So what's that like for people who maybe, you know, might not too familiar with what goes on in jiu-jitsu gym?
Open mat is like an open gym where everyone can just come and just roll with everyone. It's not like a class where you're getting taught. It's more of just like you roll from start to finish. So you're always just wrestling.
And then you said actually it was an MMA facility that you go to. With that said, are you an MMA fan, or right now it's just strictly jiu-jitsu?
I'm definitely an MMA fan. It's something that I want maybe have a think of doing in the future. But as of right now, I'm at school in jiu-jitsu mainly. And but it's definitely an option for me in the future.
And it's staying back with just jiu-jitsu. What's the main goal right now you have? Just jiu-jitsu itself. Do you want to somehow go to Abu Dhabi, or is there like a main goal you have?
Well, the main goal is to be a world champion, obviously, but there's a lot of like places I want to go. I always want to compete everywhere and just try to win everything, and maybe one day open my own school.
So for those who are not familiar with the jiu-jitsu kind of world, how many times a year are you averaging competing?
I compete almost every weekend, every other weekend, as much as I can. Since COVID, we're traveling out of state for stuff, and it feels like we're always traveling, but I compete on regularly. So
for those who are 18 and under, what are some of the big tournaments or big kind of jiu-jitsu competitions that go on? For people, I want to inspire to do this. What are some of the big ones people should be aiming towards?
Definitely Kids Pans, which is coming up in Florida in July. That's like the biggest kids tournament in the world. It's like, kids from everyone over the world come in, and it's really big, and it's like that's like almost like the Olympics for kids jiu-jitsu.
Now, do you ever think the Olympics will have jiu-jitsu in the future?
Yeah, I definitely think it'll get in there. Maybe they'll have like maybe some MMA into it. Mm-hmm. Like combat jiu-jitsu, but definitely there'll be MMA or jiu-jitsu in it.
So I have the question: do you prefer gi or no gi jiu-jitsu, or do you like both? Or what are their strengths and weaknesses to both?
I definitely love both of them. I think that my game is mainly gi, but like my no gi game and my gi game are very different. But I really like the gi because you have grips and you have more control. But no gi is really fun, just for like of a future more. I feel like the no-gi world has a bigger future than the gi world.
Yeah, I think when you see like most grappling events or you see the bigger jiu-jitsu events, it's usually no-gi. And I think more people, for some reason, it appeals to them more the no-gi than the gi.
Yeah.
So who are some of your favorite jiu-jitsu practitioners that are out there right now that you kind of inspire to or like draw inspiration from?
I draw a lot. I love Jessica Kahn. Her game is insane. Definitely Elizabeth Clay. She's so strong. I was actually on one of the Fight to Win cards with her. in
wow.
Dallas
Oh,
when she got the title. Natalie Ribeiro, Mason Fowler. He's definitely like huge in the jiu-jitsu world, and definitely the Rotolo twins.
Oh, okay.
It's kind of cool, right? Or where jiu-jitsu practitioners are just as up there in notoriety with mixed martial artists. I think now that they're on the UFC Fight Pass, there's all these tournaments going around year round, so where you don't necessarily have to be inside of a cage or an octagon or a ring to be considered a combat sports athlete.
Yeah.
So real quick too, you are highly accomplished for your age at 15. A lot of sponsorships. One of the sponsors that we have here who brought this interview possible was Wildbar. I'm gonna ask you a bit about that. What's it like being sponsored by them, and also what's your favorite flavor of Wildbar?
My favorite flavor is definitely pineapple.
Same.
I have one right here, actually. Right there.
Yeah, there you go. Get Wildbar, awesome. Go to wildbar.co. Get yourself some. So, what are you training for right now? What's the nearest competition?
What I'm training for right now is PANS at the end of July in Florida, but I think I might do like a Jiu-Jitsu World League and maybe one other one before then, but mainly just warm-ups, focusing and staying and getting ready for PANS because that's one of my biggest goals. It'll be my last year doing kids PANS because of my age.
Mm-hmm.
So next year I'll be doing like juvenile and everything.
Oh, wow. So when you're training for a competition like that, obviously you're rolling, you're doing jiu-jitsu, but do you do anything like cardio or weightlifting? Kind of what's a good balance for you for doing just jiu-jitsu and also other type of exercises?
I mean, cardio is a big thing. And also, like, I want to get more into lifting because it'll just help me all the way around. But that's definitely something I want to do, but I should do more of.
Got it.
And so are you still just keeping it strict? Like, I know you said that maybe in the future you might want to look into MMA. So are you just, when you go to your training facility, do you just do nothing but jiu-jitsu, or have you started putting a little bit more in there, like Muay Thai or kickboxing?
I do the boxing classes once in a while because it's right before no-gi, so then I'll just do that, and then I'll go to no-gi. And my dad really wants me to go to Thailand with him because he trains at Tiger Muay Thai.
Oh, wow.
There.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so he's been there a few times, and that would be awesome to go there and just train.
Tell us more about that, you and your dad's relationship. What's it like having that great support system? And obviously your dad's encouraging you to do this. He wants you to learn more. So can you talk about that? Like what's he like to you and your other family members and how they're supporting you in your jiu-jitsu career?
Yeah, my dad has been one of the biggest supporters in my whole career. We travel to Texas, Florida, Arizona, everywhere. He does so much for me just so I can be able to fulfill my dreams of being there. And definitely my whole family always supported me, and they just want me to be happy and do what I love.
What about your friends like at school? Do they even know that you're such an accomplished jiu-jitsu person?
You're on podcasts like this?
Or you're kind of like, I try to keep them separate.
A lot of my friends do know. Like, I have a few friends that train with me, some of my best friends that train with me. But like they think it's really cool, and some of them don't know, and then when they find out, they're like, "Oh my god!" And then I also wrestle for the high school, so a bunch of girls.
Oh wow!
Hey,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
And how's that going?
It's going really good actually. It's my first year doing it, freshman year. I started, and hopefully my goal is to get a scholarship from that, and then go to a good college, hopefully D1, and then work in my jiu-jitsu and wrestling because it benefits my jiu-jitsu so much. Like, I've already seen so much progress in my jiu-jitsu from wrestling. Like, my takedowns and everything have gotten so much better.
I was going to ask you that question. Yeah.
What about the other way around though? Like, has jiu-jitsu helped?
Oh, your wrestling.
The wrestling, yeah.
Jiu-jitsu definitely helps wrestling too because you always have that background. It's just a lot different because like you don't want to be on your back. But in jiu-jitsu, like, you want to be on your back. So that's a lot different. But there's also, like, moves that benefit each other that, like, the wrestling moves and jiu-jitsu moves that are pretty much the same.
That's awesome. Well, Berlyn, we want to thank you again for taking the time to speak with us. We'll have you on again in the near future, maybe before your big competition, help you promote that out. Awesome. Before we let you go, any sponsors, your coach you want to give a shout-out to? And where can people follow you or kind of, if they want to see you in action, where can they kind of check you out?
I really want to give a big thank you to Wildbar for just giving me this opportunity to be on here with you guys. And and also Nerd Assassins because they've helped me so much through my jiu-jitsu career, and OC Fight Doc too. He helps me with so much, like just getting ready. I just recently hurt my back, and he fixed me so quick, ready for the next comp. And he works on like all the UFC fighters, and it's just cool to be in that environment up there. Also want to give a thank you to my family, my dad, and everyone, and obviously my coach and my whole Fight Strong team, because without them I wouldn't be here.
Awesome. And where can people get a hold of you on social media if they want to give you a follow?
You can follow me on Instagram at Berlyn_Davis BJJ. And then also I have a few fights on Flow Grappling. And that's pretty much all.
Awesome. There you go. Berlyn Davis, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us again. Best of luck in your competitions. We'll have you again on in the near future. Again, Berlyn Davis, interviews brought to you by wildbar.co. Berlyn, thank you so much again.
Thank you for having me.
All right, thank you.
5-round MMA.
Awesome interview with Berlyn Davis. I want to thank her for taking the time to speak with us, and a big thank you to Wild Bar for hooking that up. We got more interviews down the pipeline for Wild Bar. They sponsor a lot of jiu-jitsu practitioners, and it's awesome to have them trust us to interview their line of sponsored jiu-jitsu athletes. Again, Berlyn Davis, thank you so much for taking the time out. Future's bright for her, right?
Dude, they are legit making me a fan of jiu-jitsu on Fight TV. I literally have a bunch of jiu-jitsu stuff queued up, and I want to get into the Flow Grappling to watch it. They're hyping me up in jiu-jitsu, bro.
Yeah, man. Again, a big thank you to Berlyn, and she was awesome to speak with. Her future is bright in the world of jiu-jitsu. And I said she's talking about maybe getting into MMA, but we'll see. But if she sticks to jiu-jitsu, I think she has even an opportunity to make, hopefully by when she's old enough now, the Olympics will be recognized jiu-jitsu as a real sport globally. Because if jiu-jitsu is on the Olympics, I'm watching it. So again, a big thank you to Wild Bar for hooking that up. And a big thank you to all of you for listening, for tuning in this week. We really appreciate it. Again, stay up to date with us on social media. We're on Instagram, we're on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok, all at 5-round MMA. It's FIVE round MMA. Make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications on our YouTube channel. Again, every comment, every like goes a long way. We greatly appreciate it. Again, we're available audio version of this podcast wherever you get your podcasts at, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you listen to audio podcasts, we're available. And a big thank you to Foxhound Fuel for sponsoring this show, and a big thank you to Wild Bar again for sponsoring this show. Again, foxhoundfuel.com, promo code 5MMA for 15% off your order, and wildbar.co, promo code 5-round MMA 15 for 15% off your order. Big thank you to both of them for sponsoring us. Albert, what do you got before we head out?
Well, first off, she said her favorite flavor was pineapple. We're hoping to try some, and we'll let you guys know what our favorite flavor is. But now she hyped me up to try that pineapple one. I'm not going to lie. But yeah. What were you saying?
No, that's it, man. Yeah, we'll get it on there, man.
Thank you for listening.
See you guys next week.
Thanks for tuning in.